Hi everyone, welcome to TV Guna. We're going to do a preview now for the Arsenal game, and I'm delighted to have a special guest with me, my cousin Abhik, who's a big Liverpool fan. Welcome, Abhik.
Hello everyone.
So before we get into the preview, let's talk about your game yesterday. What a game it was, especially that first half. What are your thoughts on the game and the result?
Still recovering from it. That first half was one of the most insane first halves I've ever seen. Chelsea, you wouldn't associate that level of intensity with a Chelsea team ever. And normally when it comes to the big games, it's like they're more like dull, and both teams are just looking for a point or playing it safe. Chelsea were not playing it safe yesterday. They were at us, like they went for the throat from like the first minute, and it took me back a bit. I was like, wow, okay, so they had the better chances. We went 2-0 up because we took our chances, and then deservedly so. They ended the half at 2-2. Yeah, absolutely crazy first half, and then second half it calmed down a bit. I think after Jorginho came on, they calmed it. The intensity went a bit. It's impossible to keep up with that level of intensity for 90 minutes anyway. The only team that I see with that level of intensity, playing at level of intensity, is Liverpool or City. So what I would say is what Chelsea did in the first half is they out Liverpooled us basically, or out City'd us. But yeah, it was really weird their approach, because like I said, I wasn't expecting that at all, especially with their injuries and COVID and suspensions and whatnot. Going into the game, we obviously had a few COVID issues as well, so it was like, yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect, to be honest. I was hoping, because they had a few more injuries, and I knew that Salah and Mane were starting, maybe we could go and get the points. And it is a bit disappointing because it's drop points when you're 2-0 up, or when you've got any lead and you don't end up winning. It's always drop points. But yeah, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I think, especially in the last 10 minutes, if there was one team that were going to go and win it, it would have been Chelsea. So I'm kind of happy to get out of the bridge with a point, rather than nothing at all. But yeah, absolutely insane game. Good for the neutral, no doubt.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching that first half. As you said, it was really intense. 4 goals and a half is rare, especially in big games like that. As you say, normally teams are playing a bit defensively, not wanting to give much away, but you both went for it. 2 really good teams, and it was a good game. What do you think about the title race now? So quite far.
So for me, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I wasn't that down yesterday when it did end 2-2. I was down in the sense of it was a game we should have won, because it's against Chelsea, I wanted us to win. But I wasn't down in the sense of, oh, we've only grabbed a point and now the title race is gone. For me, the title race was gone when we lost to Leicester. That was a big moment. And then I thought after the Leicester defeat, City are going to beat Brentford and Arsenal, and it happened. And I knew potentially we could be 12 points behind them before we kick off at the bridge, and that's what happened. So even if we had won yesterday, I wouldn't have been overly excited, because for me the title is gone. Even 9 points is too much. 11 points is definitely too much. City are relentless. They're just an absolute beast of a team, and they're just not gonna, they're not gonna stop. They don't look like dropping points, let alone losing the game right now. They're one of those teams that can, if you remember, not 2 seasons ago when we won it, but the season before, it was us and City going at it, and neither team blinked. Basically, each team won like the last 12 games in a row, and they ended up on 99 points, and we ended up on 97, and we lost out. Obviously, they look like they're already 11 games on a winning streak. They're going to go and keep winning, and it's just, they'll probably end up winning the title by a good, I'd say maybe 10-15 points overall. It's a shame, because I think also, like, without taking the bias out of it, I think looking at the rest of the league, Liverpool are probably the only ones that could keep up with City, because we've done so in the past, and we've actually got a title off them 2 years ago. So now that I would say we're out of it, I don't think Chelsea are going to catch up with them. And unfortunately, I think you guys are 4th, right? You're not going to keep up with them either. So the title is done and dusted. It was done and dusted for me after we lost to Leicester, which which I was really annoyed about because Leicester, they were there for the taking. A really depleted Leicester team. Salah misses a penalty and then we end up losing 1-0, but it is what it is. So yeah, I think title race is done.
Okay, so for me, like I was saying this earlier when I was doing a preview with another Liverpool fan, and I was saying to him that with the COVID going on at the moment, it just takes a few cases of COVID, a few injuries, and there's a fixture pile up as well. So there could be a case where Man City do drop a couple of games, lose a couple of games in a row, and you could be right back in it. Because if you win your game in hand, you're only 8 points behind them. So for me, I don't think it's quite over yet. I think that you still got a bit of a chance. Depends obviously how City go now. They got Chelsea coming up soon as well. I don't know if you saw much of a game against us, but they didn't look that good against us. We played really well, and we really made it for them. We pressed them well. We should have beat them. I don't know what was going on with the referee and VAR and all that. We definitely should have had a penalty in the first half. Should have been 2-0 up. And then the whole mess that happened with the sending off, like we were the better team. So I think they can be got out. They are a very good team, no doubt. Like they're very consistent. As you said, that title they won when you were just 2 points behind, that was ridiculous, getting 99 points. And then even like last year, you saw they were so consistent again. Just they're a very relentless team and they get the wins. But I think it's still a bit early. Got to hope, I hope it's still only in January. So, to keep it interesting for neutrals, I know it's deflating to see them so far ahead, but it just takes a couple of bad results. They drop 6 points, lose 2 games. And if you win your game in hand, you're right behind them. So, for the neutral, what was your thoughts on that game with them? Did you see it?
So your game, you guys did get robbed. That first half reminded me of the old Arsenal, the Arsenal that would consistently finish top 4, basically. It was like a throwback to that type of Arsenal because the way you've played so far this season, you've been fine against the teams outside of the big 6, but when you've come up against a top 6 or a top 4 side, it's just not happened for you for whatever reason, and maybe it's the quality difference. I don't know what it is, but it's just not happened. But there was no quality difference in that first half. You had City on the ropes. I think that Ederson challenge, who was it on? Was it on Martinelli? I can't remember who was on, but yeah, the way his leg come out, that's definitely for me. It's a penalty. I don't know how. Did it even get referred to the monitor? A ref didn't go to it, did he?
This was the big controversy around it, and which is why everyone's really upset with VAR because it's really inconsistent. So that one, they didn't instruct him to go have a look at the video footage, to see for himself. Is it a penalty or not? Right? They said there's not enough clear evidence to try and overturn it. But yet the second one, where he said it's not a penalty, they're saying that there was enough evidence for him to need to go have a look at it. But it should be consistent but both were like, definitely there was a chance the first one was a penalty. You see it in the video later, it was clearly a penalty, but they didn't feel there was enough evidence for that one for him to go look at it. But the second one they did. So it's just a bit see, I don't know what your thoughts are about VAR, but a lot of people have been talking about maybe the referee should be mic'd up so we can hear what the conversation is between them and the officials that are controlling the VAR, because there's inconsistency. In other sports, they do that. In cricket, in rugby, in American football, the refs are mic'd up and we get to actually hear what's going on, because it's just the way it's going. VAR is good for the game, but there's just so much inconsistency. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so VAR, I agree. VAR is good for the game, but they don't use it properly. And another example, basically, what happened in your game is really similar to what happened in the Spurs-Liverpool game a few weeks ago. So first half, Harry Kane literally goes in 2-footed, makes no contact with the ball, goes in 2-footed into Robertson. If Robertson doesn't jump, his leg is broken and he is done for the season, and it will take him, it's a really serious long-term injury if he doesn't jump. That doesn't get, looked at by the ref on the monitor. But then in the second half, Robertson's challenge on whoever it was, the Spurs player, gets looked at by the monitor. Ref is referred to the monitor. So my question, and I agree, Robertson should have been sent off for his challenge because it was reckless. But my question is, why was that referred to the monitor, but Kane's challenge wasn't? And it's the same thing with the Arsenal game. Why was the Bernardo Silva, when he goes down, why is that referred to the monitor, but then why isn't Ederson's challenge referred to the monitor? They should both be referred to the monitor. Now, with Saturday's game, the Ederson one, I think Arsenal do to get a penalty. There should be a penalty. But I also think the Bernardo Silva one is a penalty. it's a blatant dive, and I hate that. But what for me is a penalty is the shirt pull, and it is a shirt pull. It's quite clear his shirt is pulled. So I think it's a penalty. So I think it should have been 2 penalties in that game. So that's where it's a bit frustrating because it's inconsistent. Because if you like the Tottenham game, if Kane gets sent off in the first half, trust me, Tottenham do not get a point out of that game. We walk away for the 3 points. And I think if Arsenal get the penalty in the first half and you go 2-0 up, do you know what? Maybe City still come back, but maybe City don't win it. Maybe it's a draw. And at the end of the day, 2 points drop for City and the point gain for you lot is huge for the race to the top 4 and for the title. So yeah, it has hurt. It's not only hurt you guys, but it's hurt the wider aspect of the title race as well.
Yeah, for sure. So another thing, like when you look at that situation, so you look at the situation about with Harry Kane, if he got sent off, you guys would have probably gone on to dominate the game. It's unlikely Robertson would have had to make a challenge like that because you're probably cruising the game, so he's playing a bit more calmer and he probably would never have got a red card, So these decisions can influence the rest of the game in many ways. Like same with our one, if we're 2-0 up, because what happened with that one is that with VAR, okay, so Bernardo Silva dived, okay, technically you should blow for the dive before Xhaka's pulled his shirt.
Yeah.
Right? So then that's not a penalty because the first incident was Bernardo Silva diving.
Yeah.
But then we don't know because the referees are not saying what's happening. What did he actually give the penalty for? Was it for the first challenge or was it for
there
needs to be some transparency. So there needs to be more done and they need to look into the standard of the VAR and how the whole procedure is done. If really it's costing teams games and it's just not on, especially like you say now with the modern technology they have. Another thing I was going to ask you though is that the argument is that they don't want too much stopping in the game. So not looking at every incident and spending time with that. Like in cricket, it can be quite long doing a review, same in some of other sports that like rugby. The review process takes quite long. And with football, they want to keep it a free-flowing game as much as possible. But they make the right decision. So what's your thoughts? Do you think the balance should be to keep it more of a free-flowing game and get more decisions not right or get most of the decisions right and it's not so free-flowing?
I think it depends whether you're in the stadium or if you're watching at home on TV. If you're in the stadium and it's not a free-flowing game and you're constantly, like the refs constantly blowing up for every instant and going to the monitor every time something happens, it's going to be frustrating because you're a paying customer in the stadium and you're the worst thing is being in the stadium and waiting for that VAR decision. Is it offside? Is it not offside? Because you don't know whether to celebrate or not. And that's the saddest thing about football now is as soon as your team scores, you instantly jump up and celebrate. But now it's like, is it a goal? You're questioning everything. And it is a bit ridiculous. At home, if you're watching it, I guess because you're not in the stadium, you're not feeling the atmosphere as much, you can almost accept that maybe it does need to be, more reviews. I don't know. Personally, I think I just think they need to use the technology better. I'm not against VAR. I just think the people in Stockley Park, though, they just need to figure out, a better way of using it. Like last season, they had ridiculous offside calls where, if your armpit was offside, it's not a goal. Basically, they've kind of got rid of that this season, which is great. But they're still, I don't know, still not being used correctly. I just think they need to go to the monitor more often, and that doesn't. Yeah, it does stop play, but only for about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It's not like 5-minute stoppage. So I think for the sake of 20 seconds or 30 seconds to get that decision correct, it's definitely worth it. So yeah, I would say maybe they definitely need to start looking at the monitor for more instance.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that it's more important to get the decisions right. Because like I say, these are big games, Premier League's a big league shown all around the world, and you want to make sure the right decisions are getting made. So if it does cost the balance of the free-flowingness a little bit, I would still edge more to viewing more things. So hopefully that comes from the FA where they say, okay, we want referees to now start taking a look at more things and definitely might come up so the crowds can hear what's going on, the process behind the decision. So then, at least we're not sitting there thinking what's going on all the time, because that's been happening too much in so many games this season, last season. So yeah, let's hope they sort that out. So now let's get into our game coming up. I don't think we'll be playing the same team that you normally have with all the injuries you've got, the COVID
Yep.
situation. You've got players going away to the African Cup of Nations as well. So this title, normally you'll say Liverpool be the big favourites. You know, in recent times you've had the hold on us, especially at Anfield. You know, we've really struggled there. We've had some bad results this season. Like the game there, we're looking like we're playing better and we get beat 4-0. You know, so I'm not looking forward to that second leg so much. But with your situation with injuries, like I say, the COVID, the call up to the African nations, it's not going to be the same Liverpool team. So for me, I think going into it, we would be the favourites. Also with how Klopp normally approaches it. So he never really plays a full strength team. Like when we played you last season as well, you remember that crazy game that went to penalty? Like we were playing a weakened team. We didn't have our strongest team out either, but we were playing really well. We were leading, but just that Anfield thing, it's one of the hardest places in the world to go to. And with a younger team, not your best players, crowd pushed you on, you got the equaliser and went to penalties and you beat us. Same this season against Leicester. Again, you're not playing your strongest team. You were 3-1 down, but you came back and got to penalties and went through. So what's your thoughts on how Klopp's going to approach the game on Thursday?
Yeah, so I would say this is the best time to play Liverpool right now. Now, Klopp won't be in charge because he's self-isolating. So hence why he wasn't at the bridge for yesterday's game. So it'll be Pep Lijnders who takes charge. In terms of the team, so Mo Salah, Sadio, and Naby Keita, they probably wouldn't have been involved anyway. Naby Keita may have been involved, to be fair, like maybe come off the bench like he did against Leicester in the last round. But Sadio and Mo definitely wouldn't have been. They weren't even in the squad for the last round. It's like you said. So one thing that annoys me a little bit and probably annoys most Liverpool fans is Klopp's complete disregard for the domestic cups. He's just never taken them seriously, and it doesn't matter who it's against. Like we made the League Cup final in his first season and we lost on penalties to City. But since then, it's always been weakened teams because he's prioritized, I guess, winning a league title or going far in the Champions League, which is fair enough. But I would, like right now, because like I said, I don't believe I believe the title race is over now. I would, and because, when you're in a semi-final, you're 2 games away from Wembley, which is amazing just to have a Wembley appearance. I would go full strength because, like I said, title's gone. You want to win a cup and then see what happens next month in the Champions League. But I think knowing Klopp, he won't go as strong as I like. But a lot of that also is down to our COVID situation. So already Alisson probably wouldn't have played anyway. It'll be Kelleher in goal because he was in the last round. But Alisson's self-isolating. Joel Matip is self-isolating, so he's out. Again, maybe wouldn't have been involved anyway. And then Bobby Firmino, who I reckon would have been involved because Sadio and Mo won't be involved. He can't play because he's self-isolated. So we've got 3 COVID cases at the moment. Now that could go up between now and Thursday to God knows what. So every day is different. It's going to be a weakened team. If you ask me for a starting lineup, I would say I can give you 2. I can give you what I would like to see, and I can give you what Klopp will probably put out. What Klopp will probably go for is Kelleher in goal. Left back, he will probably stick with Costas. Although I would have Robertson back because Robertson has just served a 3-game suspension, so his suspension's finished, so he's fresh and he's fit. So I would start him, but he'll probably go Costas left back. Konate and Gomez as the centre-back pairing, so Virgil will be rested, no doubt. And then right back, he'll go Nico Williams, so Trent will be rested as well. He won't play Trent. And then in the middle, if we're going 4-3-3, he'll play, I reckon, Tyler Morton, who is an academy player who played in the last round against Leicester. He'll probably have Henderson alongside him just to, shore it up a bit. And then it'll be, I reckon, Curtis Jones. So Curtis Jones is a decent player who's been in and around the first team for last season and this season. He's been injured quite a bit this season, but he's a good bench option and he'll start, I reckon. So those 3 will be in midfield. And then up front is where it gets interesting because we haven't got, obviously, like I said, Sadio and Mo are not around. Bobby is self-isolating, and Taki Minamino and Divock Origi are both injured. So, and Taki Minamino and Divock Origi would have probably started this game, I reckon, because there are reserve players. So if they're both out, I reckon it'll be Ox on the left, Jota playing up front, and then someone called Cade Gordon, who's a academy player, like 17, 18 years old. He'll play on the right. So our attacking options are really depleted at the moment because of AFCON and COVID cases. Now, if Taki is fit, I reckon he'll start instead of Cade Gordon. So then there'll be Ox, Jota, and Minamino, which isn't bad. But if he's not fit, then I can see Cade Gordon starting. And then our bench, that's anyone's guess, because we could barely, like, our bench looked weak yesterday against Chelsea. It's going to look probably weaker on Thursday. So, like I said, it's the best time to play us. I am a bit worried. I'm worried because if you play like you did in the first half against City against us, and it's a weaker team like the one I just said that I reckon Klopp will put out, it wouldn't surprise me if we get beat like 2-3-1. What my hope is, because it's a two-legged game, a two-legged tie, I want us to walk out of the Emirates still in the tie. Because if we walk out of the Emirates still in a tie, whether that be like a 1-1 or 0-0 or whatever it is, like a close game, then at least it gives the likes of Bobby, Divock, Minamino, and even the others who are self-isolating a chance to come back fit. So then we can field a stronger team, and it's a return leg at Anfield in front of the fans. So I would then say, yeah, if we can take it back to Anfield and we're still in it, then we can progress through to the final. So yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not overly confident because I don't know what team he can put out as well, and that also he doesn't really, like I say, he doesn't really care much for the League Cup anyway. But yeah, that's the starting 11 that he will probably go for. The starting 11 I would have gone for is I would have started Robertson, like I said, because he's fresh now. So I would have given Costas a break, and I would have started Fabinho, Henderson, and maybe Curtis Jones in the middle. And yeah, if Divock and Taki Minamino are both fit, I would start them both alongside Jota in the middle. So it would be a lot stronger midfield and attack. Defense is okay because even Gomez and Konate, I have confidence in them to do all right in this game, so I would have rested Verge anyway. But yeah, we're like I said, it's probably the best time to play us with AFCON and the COVID cases. So yeah, it's not going to be an easy game.
So the predicted lineup, as you said, is not what your strongest team would be, and that's a good thing for us, obviously. But like I say, it's a situation where injuries, the call-ups of African nations, the whole COVID thing has affected you a lot. So as you said, it's a great time to play you. I think we should be the favourites getting into it. In terms of what I think our predicted lineup would be, like you, I'd love for Arteta to go full strength. Just say, you know what, it's a semi-final. We've got a great chance to win a trophy. It's a great chance to get into a final against either Chelsea or Tottenham, which would be a fantastic occasion for us. And I really hope he goes full strength. I don't think he will. It's a tricky one as well because we've had quite a few games recently, the Christmas period, New Year period. Saying that, though, we've got on the weekend the FA Cup and we've got Nottingham Forest away. So he's got to weigh up. Like, for me, I'd rest more players for the Nottingham Forest game and I would go more of a stronger team for this game. But I don't know what he would. Definitely, I think he'll play some of the backup players. He has been mixing that in the last rounds as well. Like, even when we played Sunderland, we did have some of our first team players playing, like Ben White did start in defence, So, I think he'll do a bit of a mix and match. So my predicted lineup is Leno will go in goal. So he's a solid keeper. He's lost out to now, but I've got faith in him as a good keeper still. So not upset if he does go with Leno instead of Ramsdale. But I think back, Chambers or Cedric are back, then he'll rest Tommy and go for one of them too. In terms of centre back, so we know Gabriel is suspended after he was red card. I don't think he would have played anyway. He went in the last round against Sunderland with Ben White and Rob Holding. I think he'll stick with that. Left back, I think he'll rest Tini and bring in Travis. Again, Travis has been very good for us this season, and I think he'll do a good job again. So not too upset if he goes with that. In midfield, so Partey's going to be out. African Cup of Nations, so he definitely won't be playing. And then Elneny as well, he's away as well at African Cup of Nations. So them two wouldn't be an option anyway. I don't know if he will start Xhaka. I'm sure he's going to start, I think, Lokongo. with him, he might go Xhaka, but more likely probably go Mate and Ainsley Niles if he is to decide to rest Saka. So I think that would be us two midfielders. But in front of him, I think you've got Emil Smith-Rowe. So the Odegaard, again, Emil Smith-Rowe's been on 5 this year. Both him and Odegaard are on a similar level. So, I wouldn't think about us weakening us. But the problem we have now is on the flank. So Pepe's at the African Cup of Nations as well. If he was possibly started instead of maybe Saka or Martinelli, so him not being available, we don't have that many options out wide as well. Sometimes he would play Aubameyang out there. Aubameyang's not even in the squad recently. The African Cup of Nations, as we know, Arteta didn't even got him out of the squad, so he wouldn't be an option even if he was here. So I think he'll go one of Martinelli and Saka, rest one of them, and then play Charlie Patino. Don't know if you know much about him, but
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, he's one of the next big things coming through for us. They say he's really talented. He's only 18. He came on in the last round against Sunderland, done really well, got a goal. So I think he might bring him in for that game. And then up front, I think he'll rest Lacazette and bring Nketiah in. And he scores a lot. So, I wouldn't say that would weaken us that much. So even if he does weaken us from our starting 11, for me personally, as I said, I'll play either same team that we played against Man City, go all out and get a nice big lead. So when we go to Anfield, we're not under so much pressure. But I feel that he will rotate a little bit. But as I said, we don't have the same amount of injuries that you guys have. We do have some combinations, but not as much as you do with that. You have your best players, Mane and Salah. So that's a big miss for you guys. Not available. We don't have any COVID situation apart from Arteta himself. I think he should be back in time for this game.
Okay. Yeah.
So I see us putting a decent team. It's not our strongest, but fairly strong. And I think with your situation, we're favourites. I think I'm going to predict a 2-0 win. You might get a goal, but I think the one thing I've been most impressed with us in general, we seem a lot more organised and we're playing more disciplined. So the defence has been a lot stronger. Really happy with that. You can see, last 10, 15 years, our weakness has always been the defence. It's been always so flimsy. Even this season, we goals like 4-0 to you guys, 5-0 to City, but that was about a lot of our players. But I think that Arteta's getting more and more time to get them organised. You can see that there's more discipline there. We look a lot more solid. So I'm hoping for a clean sheet. If we can take a 2-0 lead, 3-0 will be better, but that's maybe asking for a bit too much. But I'm going to go for 2-0 as my prediction. What about yourself?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not overly confident, but I think we will score, especially if Jota starts. I think he's obviously he's the second top scorer in the league after Mo Salah, which says it all really. He's fitted in so well since he arrived, and I think he has to start because I really failed to see who else is going to start with, like I said, with all of the COVID and the boys at AFCON. So I think it'll be another, like yesterday, a 2-2 draw. I think it'll be quite entertaining. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw, which I would take because away goals don't count, do they, in the League Cup? I think they do.
Oh, they don't.
No, they don't. So, there's no added advantage. But, a 2-2 draw, which is all right because it means it's still in a tie. Yeah, like I said, for me, it's about staying in the tie. So we have something to play for at Anfield. And then I would just back us with, hopefully some of the injured guys coming back and that strong Anfield crowd just roaring us on to victory, hopefully for a Wembley appearance this year. So, 2-2 draw for me.
Okay. Yeah, so, even, like I say, even if we have a 2-0 lead, going to your place with the way your crowd is there, one of the hardest places to go to. So, like, even then, I still say, like, we'll be favourites, but I wouldn't be, like, really confident that we're definitely going to go through because, 2 goals is not that big a lead. And, especially when you guys got that crowd there and as you said, you might have some of your players back as well. So for us, definitely we need to get a lead. Even a 1-goal lead, we really want it. If we go there with a draw, it's going to be much harder, obviously. But if we can get a lead, 2 goals, minimum 1-goal lead, and then it'll be interesting to see how it goes for the second leg. Definitely, we'll talk again next week. I hope I'll be the one smiling before the preview for the second leg at Anfield. But thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. And please, for all the viewers, remember to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you. Bye.